Rogers. Y'all still didn't tell me if there's, like, one of the 3 names that y'all never call me. I feel like that's a mouthful, but I mean, if y'all use them all. I am finally back from my giant expedition from California to Orlando to Georgia, and I'm back. I'm a little tan. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, a lot of this is fake. Some of it's real tan, like my face is real tan. Look, all I'm saying is I don't want to be so pale that I'm transparent and you can see like the gross veins in my arms and legs. Today is Tuesday, meaning it's time for our weekly episode of Am I the Bad Apple? If you've never joined us before, people send us stories or submissions of situations where they're not sure if they acted appropriately or not, and they want us to tell them our opinion. Were they the good apple or the bad apple? Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't, and that's just the beauty of life, right? We all have different experiences, and we're all going to experience different things. If you're interested in the series, I'm going to put some little sticker for the little playlist somewhere. Still learning how YouTube works. But without further ado, we're going to get started with this week's episode of Am I the Bad Apple? Apple number 1, am I the bad apple for wearing the same color as the bride to a wedding and refusing to change? Y'all, it's 2022. Stop trying to wear white to other people's weddings. I, 18 female, was asked to play the harp at a friend of my father's wedding. Normally, I'd ask for payment beforehand, but since it was a family friend, they asked if they could just pay me at the reception, and I said sure. The dates worked out for me, and it was set at a church about an hour from my house. I not only showed the bride the dress that I was planning to wear, but we also went over the music that she would want for the day of. The dress that I showed her looked okay on a hanger. I thought it was really pretty, but it was a navy blue dress with long sleeves and floor length. She gave me the go-ahead, and that was that. The day of the wedding, I got to the venue about 4 hours early so that my harp would have time to acclimate to the room. I didn't even know harps did that. When I got there, the bride's mother came to give me my corsage, and when she saw me, she demanded I change my dress. I laughed because I've known her for years and I thought it was a joke, but then realized she wasn't joking. I asked what was wrong with it, and she said that the bride went with a non-traditional dress color that was also navy blue. I panicked a little because this was her wedding and I felt really bad, but she and the groom had approved my dress twice. I told the mother and she asked if I had any other color I could change into. I don't usually bring extra dresses unless my dress somehow doesn't get approved beforehand, so I didn't. She then told me to go to a bridal shop 20 minutes away and buy a new dress. I refused because those dresses would cost about what I was getting paid for this wedding. I told her I couldn't afford it. I did feel bad, but she begrudgingly walked away. The actual wedding went super smooth. After everyone else had left the church and congratulated the bride and groom, I stopped to talk to them. I explained what her mother said, and she said that it was fine and that they weren't even thinking when they approved my dress. They completely forgot mine was navy. But at the reception, when I talked to the mother again about payment, she refused to pay me. I didn't want to cause a scene, but the bride came over when she heard us talking. This time, she was also upset with me and refused to pay me just flat out. I didn't know what to do. My parents weren't there. They were busy and couldn't attend the wedding, so I didn't have anyone to back me up. A lot of people assume harpists come from a lot of money because of how expensive harps are, but that's just not the case for me. And I have college payments due in a few days, and I can't afford it. I got my parents involved when I got home, and my dad talked to his friend, the father of the groom, who was also there when they approved the dress. And luckily, the father did get the payment to me. I still feel really bad, but I don't think there was anything that I could have done. Should I have just sucked it up and bought a new dress? Am I the bad apple? No. What kind of gaslighting is that? Oh my gosh, this poor girl. I'm sorry, if the bride didn't want anyone else to wear navy, then let people know you're wearing navy. I'm totally on board for don't wear white to a wedding. You don't wear the same color as the bride, that's her day, let her shine. But if you're no one else knows not to wear navy, that's a pretty standard color that you wear to weddings. It's fair that a bride wouldn't want other people to wear the same color as her, but if you're gonna go with a non-traditional dress and you want to make sure you're the only one in that color, let someone know. And that's it, it stops there. But furthermore, you approved this girl's dress multiple times. I don't even know if I read that wrong or if it was just typed weird or what, but at least one time you approved of this dress, okay? That is no longer that girl's problem. That's the bride's problem. And if it means that much to you, then you can provide her another dress or find someone to like run home or someone who lives nearby or go to Target. Target sometimes has nice dresses. Being the age where like a lot of my friends are getting married and planning weddings and I'm interacting with a lot of wedding vendors with them, I've heard so many horror stories of the crazy things people will do to like get out of paying for something at a wedding. So like this doesn't surprise me that these people were just trying to find a way to not pay. Who knows? Maybe they weren't even upset about the dress. Maybe they planned it. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they were just looking for a reason. I don't know. But to me, it feels like they were just looking for a reason to not pay for a service that they received. Luckily, the father of the bride was a little bit more classy than the bride and the mother, whoever's mom that was. Those ladies were bad apples. Father of the bride, good apple. This poor harpist, 100% good apple. Like, she's making school payments. It's not even like she's like, oh, this was going to my luxury, whatever. And it honestly shouldn't even matter. Like, it's her money. She earned it. She can spend it on whatever she wants. But, like, she's spending it on school. Apple number 2. Am I the bad apple for freaking out my teacher? I had an accident when I was a baby and lost my left eye. I don't have an eye socket that I could put a fake eye in. It's just normal skin and some scars on a big patch of my face. That's just how they reconstructed my face in surgery. The right side and the bottom half of my face, though, is completely normal. I have side bangs that hide the left side of my face so that I don't freak people out and I don't get weird looks. I know I shouldn't feel like there's anything wrong with me, but the looks don't feel good. I've been going to the same school since I was 5, so the teachers and kids know about it. And it's nice to not have to explain to people over and over. However, we did get a new teacher this week. He started by asking us to go around the room and introduce ourselves. When he got to me, he was kind of rude and he asked me,
"Do your parents know you come to school looking like this? It's extremely disrespectful to have your hair in your face like that. Fix your bangs. I want to see your face."
I tried to protest, but he just kept getting angry and angrier, so I obeyed. I tucked my bangs behind my ears, showing the left side of my face. He gasped, got super embarrassed. His face turned red, my classmates laughed, and he told me that I can let my hair down now. Later that day, though, my head teacher came and scolded me. She told me that I was in the wrong for pranking my new teacher, going out of my way to shock him, and that I should have just told him about it. So did I do something wrong? I just obeyed his orders. He was getting angry with me. It's not my fault that he ended up not wanting to look at my face. So, am I the bad apple? It sounds to me like this new teacher was trying very hard to assert himself as the authority figure in the room and thought that he could use this as an example to put his foot down and was embarrassed when it didn't go the way that he thought it was. It sounds like he made it seem to the other teachers that this poor girl was trying to embarrass him or prank him, right? And that's just not the case. First of all, a medical situation like this, I find it very strange that the principal or the other teachers didn't let him know, hey, not as a, hey, guess what you have in your class, but as a, hey, just to let you know, don't want you to be staring and gawking at this kid, she has this going on. That just seems like the respectful thing to do to make sure he's not staring at her, making her uncomfortable. If everyone knows, I feel like giving this teacher a heads up would have been polite. But that doesn't mean that I think it's right that he made it seem like she was trying to prank him. And yes, teachers do need to assert themselves as authority figures in the classroom. That's important because you're gonna have kids that try to power grab hard. But that just seemed like an overreaction. I need to see your face. Why? That is such a micromanagey type of thing. Let the kids wear their hair how they want. I just assume that maybe they don't like their forehead. Maybe they're trying to cover a back knee, or I don't know. I just don't understand why that's your business. I felt like that was a really dumb thing to try and power grab over for that teacher. But this student is not the bad apple. The student is the good apple, 100%. And for the teacher, I'm gonna have to go with bad apple. I'm sorry. I don't agree with like that weird power move of like trying to force a kid to wear their hair a certain way. I think that's weird. And I don't like how when he realized he was in the wrong, he tried to make it seem like the kid was trying to prank him. Apple number 3. Am I the bad apple for weaponizing my femininity? I don't even want to guess what this is gonna be. Oh my gosh. For a little backstory, I, 15 female, lost my mom when I was 5. My dad raised me alone until last year when my second dad, who I call Papa, moved into our home. Now we're a happy little family of 4, me, my 2 dads, and my dog. I'm not ashamed of my family, so I never hid it. I'm not really popular at school, so I just really told my friends and it was all good. Until about 2 months ago, a boy that we'll call Duncan, 15 male, found out I have 2 dads. He started out with simple jokes like, whoa, which one of them is the mom? Which I promptly told the teacher, Miss Smith, I promptly told the teacher just to make her aware, who said, Duncan's just trying to understand. If you want people to understand your family's way of life, you just have to be patient with them. The thing is though, Duncan started escalating. He started telling me, enjoy your time here. It'll get worse when your sinner family goes to hell. I went to the teacher again, who said, you can't be prejudiced with his religion. It's wrong in the Bible, and he's just trying to understand. I have a lot of examples of insults I received from Duncan and excuses that Miss Smith made for him. I realized that the teacher wasn't going to help me, and after about 2 months of this, I realized if I wanted him to stop, I'd have to stop him myself. So next time he started with his homophobic slurs in the cafeteria, I started to remember the saddest thing I could. All the movies where the animal dies, sad romantic movies, Mufasa's death, The Fox and the Hound. It didn't take long for the waterworks to come. I started to bawl. Ugly sobbing while basically screaming at him, asking, why am I going to hell? Why do you hate me and my dad so much? Just making an absolutely huge scene. Duncan started to stutter and plead, tried to make me just go to class and maybe we can talk to the teacher together. I wonder why. I just cried louder and flinched when he tried to touch me and pull me away. The scene got so huge that we ended up in the principal's office. Our principal listened to both sides and was so pissed off at Miss Smith. Miss Smith even tried to interrupt the principal and defend Duncan, but the principal wasn't having any of it. At the end of the day, Duncan got a 5-day suspension and the principal told me to go to her directly if anything like that ever happened again. When we left the principal's office, Miss Smith stopped me and said, I hope you're happy. You put a permanent mark on a good boy's record, all because you decided to weaponize your femininity. You really should have just been a little more understanding. Miss Smith tried to make me apologize to Duncan, but I told him that I would go right back to the principal's office if he ever mentioned again, and he dropped it. The same day, Duncan's friends started messaging me, accusing me of acting like Amber Heard and ruining a boy's life just because I can. I haven't told my parents yet because they're always afraid I'll suffer because they choose to love each other, and I don't want to have to bring this up to them. I don't feel like I'm in the wrong, but with both Miss Smith and Duncan's friends harassing me, I'm starting to doubt. So, am I the bad apple? We have so many sad stories. These poor girls. Oh my gosh. 3 in a row? My heart is shattering. I genuinely hope this doesn't take a lot of explaining, okay? This girl is a good apple, 100%. Teacher's a bad apple, Duncan's a bad apple, his friends are a bad apple. That principal, super good apple. I don't think drawing attention to someone being hateful is weaponizing your femininity. Like, there are some people that, no matter how upset they get, they're just not gonna cry. They're not. He's bullying her, and, she's just one of those people that, doesn't cry for that stuff, so she tries to make herself cry so that people understand how big of a situation this is. This isn't just oh, he called me names. No, you're being homophobic to her family. And also, why did it take her crying to bring it to the principal? Attention everyone, I also just realized I read it wrong. It's Mr. Smith. So the teacher is actually a guy, not a girl. That's what I get for not wearing my glasses, but my glasses glare in the lights. Apologies, friends. So, teacher, Mr. Smith, Super bad apple. That also makes a lot more sense of the teacher just being like, you're gonna mess up a good boy's record. What? I don't think there's anything wrong with, like, her crying because he's being homophobic to her. It's not like she cried for no reason. It's not like she just made up a situation, right? She cried. He was being homophobic. She cried. That's the bottom line. That's even something, like, that I don't think is bad in general, okay? When you're out in public, someone, a guy, a girl, whoever is, like, making you very uncomfortable, you draw attention to it. If you start to draw attention to it, they try to grab you and pull you somewhere else, you make a scene because you never know, right? Safety first. And I'm not saying that that kid was gonna hurt her, but I'm saying in general, I don't think that's a bad lesson to teach. Apple number 4. Am I the bad apple for stealing my teacher's pet fish? Maybe this is gonna be the first bad apple of the day. My family owns a small fishing company. My uncle does the charter fishing, while my dad and grandparents do the commercial fishing. My mom is also a marine biologist. We have giant fish tanks at home, so I grew up all around marine life and I know a lot about fish. I'm often the one that cleans the tanks, does the maintenance, and just takes care of the little guys. Now, my high school teacher has a nasty aquarium. It's covered in algae, the water's very dirty. The tank is only about 5 gallons, and it has at least 4 times the amount of fish that can realistically survive in there. The filtration system is weak, and she often lets it evaporate, so the tank is only about 70% full. Worst of all, she lets it just sit in direct sunlight. That's a big no-no. You always pull the tank away from the windows. And to top it all off, she has fish that shouldn't live in the same temperature range, all just in the same tank. She also doesn't have particular hardy fish that can withstand these harsh conditions. She has a pea puffer, which, yes, there are freshwater pufferfish, which I'm really jealous of because I've always wanted one and could never find any in local stores. She also has barbs, silver dollars, loaches, barbs, and tetras. I've volunteered numerous times to help her clean the tank, and she just says no. I point out the issues with the tank many times, and she always tells me she knows what she's doing. I asked her at least 5 times if I could help, and she eventually told me to stop or I'd be facing disciplinary action. I had to do something. Our school had a massive event over the weekend. There were some sports events, some concerts, and a small fair. Some classrooms were used, and hers was used for storing some things. My cousin lives about an hour away from me, and she has fish tanks too. I had a friend go into our teacher's classroom and open the window. My cousin then climbed in through the window, took the fish, put them in bags, and took them home. I kept the pea puffer, and she integrated the rest into her fish tanks. Our teacher was pissed. The school launched this whole investigation into it, and they did suspect me. I, however, had an alibi. I was on camera for 90% of the day doing other stuff around different parts of the school. There was also a hallway camera that showed nobody leaving the classroom with the fish. The school basically dropped the investigation after a week, but the teacher is pissed. She straight up told me she knows I'm involved. I told her, I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm glad the fish are in a better place. My parents asked me if I was involved, and I said yeah. They were really mad at me at first, but they're okay with it now because they also know the fish were being abused. So, am I the bad apple? This one is really difficult for me. And I know there are gonna be people that have very strong opinions one way or the other. I know there are gonna be people who are like, that fish is the teacher's property and he had no right and he stole from her and teachers already don't make enough and he stole her property. Like, I get that. That's valid, 100%. Like, those were the teacher's fish. And I know there's also going to be people who are like, those animals are being abused. And I know, like, some people don't really care about fish because it's not the same as a cat, but those are still animals that are, like, clearly being abused. And I get that. That's also very valid. I don't think this kid was being just malicious. Like, for sure, he was jealous of the pea puffer. He wanted that fish, definitely. But at the same time, he does come from a background that knows how to care for these animals. And he knew that these animals were not being cared for, and I think that he genuinely had concern for them. I still don't know if stealing them was the right way to go about it. I don't agree with that. So a while ago we had situations where we couldn't decide, like, not a good apple but not a bad apple, and I saw a lot of people suggest the term crab apple, which is like neither good nor bad. So I'm gonna go with crab apple on this one based on the information that I'm given, right? Like, I know someone out there is gonna be like, how do you know he actually knows how to cure for fit? I know. I'm aware that he could have easily lied about that. But we're going based off of the information that we're given. Something that people always do with these situations is like insert their own experience as like a fact, right? Like, oh, well, I bet he did XYZ or thought XYZ because that happened to me. We're going based off of the information that we have, right? You might have experienced something different that sways your opinion, and that's fine. Based off of the information I have, I'm gonna go with crab apple because I believe that he really was concerned about the care of these fish. I don't like the way he went about it, but I don't think he was just trying to slight the teacher. Now, this teacher, I do have a problem with her not caring about how to take care of these animals. That bothers me. Like, I love animals. And again, I know there are a lot of people out there that don't, like, value fish the same way that you would value a hamster or a cat or a dog. Like, I get that. But, like, they're still animals, right? And they still suffer and they still, like, struggle to breathe when they're put in the wrong environment. I don't like that she didn't care about that. Like, if you're going to have an animal, class pet or an animal at home, whatever it is, you need to do the proper research to make sure you're caring for them effectively and appropriately. I've always been of the opinion that if you have animals, like, they're your family, you take care of them, you put in the time, you put in the effort, you put in the research, and if you don't, then you don't need an animal. Alright, so, regrouping to summarize today's episode, I had 3 good apples. Is that right? Do I have 3 good apples? I think so. Yes, 3 good apples and 1 crab apple. Do you guys agree with me? Do you not agree with me? I feel like a lot of people are going to feel very strongly one way or another on the last one. I'm nervous. Don't forget, if you want to send me a submission, stop emailing them to me. I made a subreddit on Reddit. It's like the little r-whatever the URL thing for Reddit is. Am I the bad apple? And I would love to read your submissions there. If you haven't done so already, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the little bell down at the bottom because you want to keep seeing this series. Everyone loves it. And I'm just having a really good time doing it. I'm going to continue recovering from my 3-week extravaganza around the country. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye, my lovelies. Mwah.